What's going on, man?
Hey, brother. Good to be here with you.
Yes, sir.
Um, yeah, so extremely tired. Um, I've been experiencing like several nights this week of like not really being able to sleep great. I've been waking up like 2, 3-ish and staying up for generally like 2 or 3 hours and not really getting back to sleep really well. And so it's really just like worn me out this week. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, man. Dude, that same thing has happened to me a lot lately where I'm waking up 2, 3 in the morning. Or the other thing that's happening is I'll be so tired and I'll go lay down and then just lay there. But I'm not like worried about anything like in the past where I'd be worried about this or that. That's not the case. Like I'm just completely at peace and just laying there. So, yeah, I Googled it the other day.
yeah, so let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's because I've heard some stuff about this also as well. Um, so yeah, let's just go into conversation about it. And I think that we were kind of just planning on doing some brainstorming right now for a podcast that we want to do, but let's just go into this and
Yeah,
see how it turns out,
see what
and maybe
happens.
see what happens. Maybe it can. Maybe it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So,
yeah, you're
yeah,
Googling it.
I Googled it. I found the subreddit where they were talking about the same thing. And so what I Googled was something along the lines of like when you're going through an awakening, do you get less sleep or is your sleep interrupted? Something along those lines. I can't remember exactly what I Googled, but I found a subreddit where they talked about it and people were saying that before you started going through an awakening you were most likely in a very negative state or yeah, negative. So that negativity was drawing a lot of energy, therefore you could like lay down and fall right asleep, and that makes perfect sense to me, you know. And it kind of lines up like when I wake up, I typically try to be in bed by 9 for sure. I would love to be asleep by like 9:15, 9:30 ish, because I get up at 5 in the morning. But if I'm doing the math, I mean, say I fall asleep by 9:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 3:30, 6 hours of sleep. If that's good sleep, you know, like it's not enough, but makes sense that I wake up at 3:30.
Yeah, and
That's what
also yeah, go ahead, just finish up there.
yeah, I mean that's what I was used to in the past, a couple years ago. I was only getting 6 hours of sleep regularly. I would
Yeah,
love to
so I
get
think
8 though.
yeah, 8 is critical. I think for
Yeah,
me,
absolutely.
and to like the conversations we've been having like outside of here with other folks and stuff, um, like to be operating in an optimum kind of form. Like you need enough sleep, you need enough food, you need your
Hmm.
nutrients, you need your exercise, you need all these things. And like talking about awakening and becoming more of a higher a higher vibrational being, you've got to have like sufficient, you got to have enough within this body. Like we were talking with Brian the other day about the consciousness, and like our soul essence is like rising so much right now in that awakening state. And so the body has to, like, it's going to go through like an uncomfortable shift to kind of match that vibration of your um your soul, your consciousness. basically. Your consciousness is evolving,
Hmm.
and it's had its own its own struggles and its own things to go through and overcome, and uncomfortability. And like now it just feels like so much has happened and occurred like consciously in my personal experience, and the body is just kind of having to rise up and meet that vibrational level. And so there's going to be some uncomfort. And also, I've heard several people talk about these hours between 3 and 5 a.m. Is like when the veil is most thin. And like really what it comes down to, I think, is that is the most quiet time of the 24-hour period in a day. Is certainly like between 3 and 5. That's the least amount of happenings and goings on in the world around me. And so with that stillness, with that level of quiet, it's been really interesting for me to kind of wake up and acknowledge that I'm awake and I can't sleep, and like go into prayer and go into meditation. And the other morning I had a really cool experience. I think it may have been Tuesday morning after that Monday meditation, which was just amazing. For me personally, that was my most profound experience with meditation ever.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, it was amazing. And like I, yeah, I feel like it was Tuesday morning, Monday night. I woke up at like 2:30, I think, and so I laid in bed for like an hour and tried to get back to sleep, and then I couldn't. And then, other people have told me, that's like the magic hour, for connecting with God and your higher self. And so I've been practicing this for probably a few months, like just being comfortable with that time. And so I get up and I start praying and meditating, and it's like I had this experience of like being guided on what to pray about, what to pray for, and how to pray, and what to ask for. And it's like, well, you can just ask what to say to this
Hmm.
person or in this situation or this circumstance. And it was really like an amazing like dialect, like conversation between me and you know
Yeah.
God, whatever, whatever's on the other side, in the stillness, the guidance, the creator, the creator of this existence is what it feels like. And that was kind of a new experience for me. And like really just waking up to the fact that my existence here, your existence here, this whole existence on this planet, in this dimension, in this reality is so much more than the 3D like surviving and all the things that
Hmm.
I grew up
Yeah.
believing is true. All that stuff is true, and all that stuff is very real, but there's so much more.
Yeah.
Like there's a magical, mystical side, like a conversation with God, a conversation with that which I am from, that which my soul is with now.
H- How did this conversation go? Like, was it more like you felt the answers, like, or was it like a Noah's Ark type and God said blah 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 blah,
Yeah,
like a
yeah, that's
voice in your
interesting.
head, or was it
It
was
was
it
it
like
was
through thought?
it was through thought. It wasn't really like I was hearing something or even like somebody was in my head saying something. It was, I don't know, man. That's really interesting because I've had other experiences. I had an experience with this like crystal that I found 2 feet under the ground. It's like a 42-pound big crystal, quartz
Hmm.
crystal. And I found this thing and it was in the kitchen floor. Um, Haley and Scarlett were cleaning out the mud and kind of digging it out and cleaning it all out. and everybody was in bed, and I walked by this thing, and it like got my attention. It spoke to me, but in like it's telepathic, I think.
Hmm.
Um, and I've just started getting into the telepathy tapes where the, young autistic young adults and older teenagers are like communicating with each other in a different dimension, like totally. And it's telepathy, and I've experienced a little bit of that before, and I totally think that we are capable of that, and that's one of these things that is magical and mystical, and that we didn't know, and we didn't learn about. I didn't learn about that. I didn't.
Right. Me
If
neither.
I mean,
Yeah.
in my household, in my family, in my upbringing, that would be like crazy talk, or like, no, that's not possible, or
Yeah,
just
it would almost be I don't know the word for me, but not blasphemy, but it evil maybe.
right.
Like
Yeah, it's same,
like in the way that
same.
I got brought up, but
But to me, like what I'm feeling, what I don't know, the way that I'm feeling about it feels like it's coming from like God. Like the other night in
mhm.
this prayer, I was in a prayer and I was praying actively, and it was just like it was like this knowing came to me. It was like a knowing, like a
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because I've experienced something similar where it's like, yeah, you know, but there is thoughts, but you also know, I
yeah,
guess. Like I don't know how else
yeah.
to explain it.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, it's kind of like the only way to really, and this is one thing I want to make clear and like say that I do not understand any of this.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about this, and I'm just like, I'm talking about my experience. I don't understand it. I don't know what it is. I'm calling it God because I have really been connecting with God, my creator. And when I say God, I'm talking about the God creator of existence as we know it, as everybody knows it. I'm a human body here. Jeffrey's a human. We're on phones, we got all this stuff. Like there's a central source point of creation of all this.
Hmm.
And so that is what I am referring, that's what I'm calling God. And I don't understand that either. I don't understand how it's possible. I don't understand what I'm going through. I don't understand what I'm experiencing. I do know that I am extremely grateful, and I am extremely humble, and I am extremely curious and just like amazed at every moment, man.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think like I don't know that we need to understand it. I think
I
it's
think that's
like
the key.
it's fun to poke around and to like try to figure it out, to be curious and all that and have discussions like this. But I don't think we need to fully understand what's happening, or
I think that's where a lot of blocks come for people.
yeah,
Like
like
for not
Brian,
being able to experience it.
right, right.
Just
Brian and
because
I
they're
were just talking about this the other day. Like, at some point, knowledge can be its own block, right?
Yep,
Because then
yep.
the more you seek knowledge, the more you're kind of like closing, closing off because it's supposed to be like this because that's what a book said or something else, you know?
Yeah, man. I've been so like letting go of the mind and the
Hmm.
need to know or understand has been coming through really huge for me for several months now. And like I'm not really all that intellectual as a person. Like I never like I didn't go to college. I was never into like school hugely. I was never really into reading that many books, and like I have discovered that that has been a huge blessing for me to opening up into this mystical, magical miracle of my life and my and everybody's life existence here. It's totally a miracle, man. Everything to look, to just use your eyes. just to see anything, to hear anything, to taste, to feel, to be aware of your senses, to feel love and connection and community and empathy and compassion for other people, like to look at the sky, to see the sunset, to jump in water and like float in the water, like in between, the earth and the sky. And I mean, it's all just a miracle, man. And for me to be stepping into this like magical, mystical, non-understanding of it is like such a blessing. And I, um, I attribute much of where I'm at and what I'm experiencing to like not being so intellectual with my mind
Yeah,
and not,
not knowing.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that's and for me, so some people have to work hard at that because their mind wants to know and wants to understand and wants to be in control.
Hmm.
And I think it's been like a huge blessing for me in the experience that I'm having now to not need to do all that. And so I'm open basically to having an experience that the brain cannot understand. It's not even possible, perhaps, for the brain to understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
Like, the brain can understand the rules and the regulations and the science. You can only do this with this and that and that. Like, the brain can understand all of that stuff and conceptualize, but what we're talking about, the brain has really like nothing to do with.
Yep. And then I think you gotta kind of learn to trust like your own experiences, right? And I think that's like, at least for me, that's where like I don't know what's going on, but if I have like an experience and then I talk to somebody else and they have a similar experience, it's like, okay,
Yes,
now I'm learning to trust this experience because it's you know been proven beyond just me having this, or it's not my imagination that's dreaming this up.
that's a huge point, man. Like, and,
Mm,
and so now that I have had these experiences within my personal experience of, these miracles, it's like now it's time to read. Like, so
mhm.
now I'm reading and I'm like really like getting it. I'm like, oh wow, this somebody had this similar experience
Yeah.
2,000 years ago or 1,600 years ago. Like, what? Like, it's amazing. It's blowing my mind, man. Just
Yeah.
like the consciousness, the God mind, the God awareness, the awareness that all of us are having, the experiences that all of us are having. God's awareness is behind that. So who am I beyond Jacob in my mind and my body? It's God.
Yeah.
God is the stillness. God is the awareness, the eternal presence, the eternal awareness that is beyond all of the things that our minds know and understand. So God has the awareness and has the capability, I think, to store all of this and remember all of this. And so what what is coming through when you're, I guess, basically surrendered and let go of the mind, what comes through? It's like God's awareness, God's
God's
knowledge.
awareness. Yes, exactly. And then, so let's get back to the autism kids you were talking about, and telepathy.
Telepathy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Telepathy. I
yeah.
mean, of course it's possible if you can,
Right.
let go of your own thoughts. Like, I'm sure you and I could communicate through telepathy if we worked at it hard enough and
Absolutely.
let go of all of our thoughts. And I don't know, man. It's fascinating. Like, because
Yeah.
I
Like,
guess what's going on in my head right now is like, well, if there's loving awareness is present in all things, right? And we're all connected through this loving awareness, God, whatever, then of course you can communicate through that awareness,
Absolutely, man.
right?
And so funny story about the telepathy tapes. They they came up on my phone one night when I was up, like couldn't sleep, around between 3 and 5. I pull my phone out, I get on YouTube, and there are the telepathy tapes. I don't know why I didn't search for them. So that makes me also like wonder about AI. Like, what is the
Yeah.
AI already like into? I don't know, man. I don't know. Like
Yeah,
why did my phone show me this when I had no idea about it? And so it's
because
all just
consciousness, man. It's like it's God and consciousness, and like you needed that message right then.
that's
That's,
right, man.
I mean, that's how I feel when things happen in my life that are like unexplainable. It's like, well, that's what it needed to be right then.
Right. And you've heard this. I mean, this has been like something that has been, I don't know about understood, but it's definitely been accepted in my growing up, in my family, and my kind of um my yeah, just my childhood, my growing up days is being in the right place at the right time.
Hmm.
God, the weave of synchronicities or things working out in the right time. And it feels like that is getting much more powerful. Like the
Hmm.
further I go on this journey, the further I let go, the further I open up to this like loving awareness, this God presence. It's like, and I think it's always been there. I've had this talk with Brian a lot. Like, it's always been there. I'm just becoming more aware of it now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm tuning in like a radio station or like I'm an antenna, and there's this frequency out there, and I'm just tuning in to that frequency. So I'm able to see it and able to experience it in a different way. And yeah, it's uh it's amazing all the synchronicities. There's been a lot this week that has
Yeah.
really just kind of blown my mind with those books, the Celestine Prophecies and the Tenth Insight. And
Oh yeah, we were talking about that in our men's mastermind thread, and then where were you, like a
I was at
massage
the
or something?
it was after a massage. I was just floated in a sensory deprivation tank,
That's where it
and
was, yeah.
in the lobby there's the book, the Tenth Insight, sitting on the bench. And I met the guy, and he's a great guy, and we talked about it. We talked about the synchronicities. One of the key things in that book, the Celestine Prophecies, which is the first, and it's a trilogy now. There's a 12th Insight out. So there's the Celestine Prophecies, the 10th Insight, and the 12th Insight. And it's all about synchronicities and like really tuning in and paying attention to these synchronicities. And it's a fiction book, but it's very like spiritual, and there's like a mysticism about it. And a lot of it
Hmm.
resonates with me. And the author, it's this is like this is from his experience, and his experience in awakening and spirit spiritual mysticism. And
So it's written like about his personal experiences, but written as a novel,
right,
right? Yeah.
yeah. And well, actually it's not even written as his personal experiences. It's written as a fiction, just a story like
Okay.
that he you know I don't want to say that he came up with. I want to say like what came through him.
Yeah, okay.
um and the synchronicities, is the main point of the story. And then so we talked about it in the men's mastermind. And I read these books back in the fall of last year. So I shared that with the guy, with Josh, who brought it up in the mastermind. And then I saw it yesterday on the bench at Still Point. And then again this morning, I had a meeting with a girl about work at a coffee shop. And she brings up the Celestine Prophecies. And I was like, what? Like, this is the third time in 3 days. So, anyways, back on point. Like, things happening at the right time. So I pull up
Mhm.
my phone in the wee hours of the morning, and there's the telepathy tapes, and I start listening, and it's talking about it's a documentary series about these experiences that these autistic kids and young adults are having, and they are meeting each other in a dimension. I guess we can just call it a dimension to keep it simple. And they call it the hill.
Mhm.
And they are meeting each other there. It's not here. These are non speaking autistic kids. So they don't communicate with words. They communicate with keyboards and typewriting and writing and stuff, but they don't speak. And they are like, I can't think of the author, the lady who's leading this documentary, but anyway, this is true. It's a true story. It's real, true experiences from real people. And they're sharing, the parents of these autistic kids are sharing like these autistic kids' experiences. And one of the guys um died. He was like a 17-year-old and he died in their hot tub. And his other friends already knew about it. John had
Mhm.
already told them that he had to leave. Like he wasn't able to reach his full potential
Yeah,
here.
didn't like one of the kids tell their moms or something
Yeah.
before like anyone else even knew?
Yeah.
It's something
So
like that because I listened. You shared it with me, and I listened to it as well.
yeah.
But anyway, go on.
And then, the other night I woke up and did the same thing. I look at YouTube and it's like if you're up between 3 and 5 a.m., listen to this. It starts talking about, just God and how God is like wanting to work and move through us as humans and like create what God is here to create. And I think that's a crucial point that we could get into as well. And um, what are we called to create? What is God wanting to create through me as an individual and through you and through everybody
I
here?
think that's probably one of the most important questions we could ask. And then, and then you better like make your desire that same desire, I would think, you know?
Right. And
That's
that's
what
like,
I'm trying to do anyway.
yeah, absolutely. Amen, man. Like,
Like,
and if you're like fighting it or you're not, I guess, surrendering to God's will, then your life probably isn't going to be that beautiful and that amazing and
mhm.
that easy. Like if you're fighting it, if you're resisting it, but then like if you just jump in the river and you let go and you go, I think like I can speak for my own personal experience. I am in communication with people that are not having such a great experience, not having such a great life, and I mean it's I don't know the percentages or whatever, but I would say a lot of people that are like really distracted and not living their purpose are probably not having the best life, even if they have found success here in
Mhm.
different ways, financial and um, other. I think that there's still a lot that's lacking if they're not living their true purpose, which is to surrender to what God wants to create through them as a unique individual expression.
Yep.
And for me, like why would I want to create anything from Jacob's mind, Jacob's body when there's a creator that created this whole existence that is
Right.
willing is willing to is wanting to create through me, wanting me to
Yeah.
be a vessel for
That's
God's creation.
yeah. And
Like,
that's when you're unlimited, like anything is possible potential is going to be unlocked, you know,
Right.
is
Yeah.
when you're in alignment with God's will.
Yeah, for sure. And like what's not possible? I mean, we've had this talk before. Like we're orbiting a star, like in the middle of space, like spiraling millions of miles an hour through space, all in sync with other galaxies and other solar systems and other stars, and it's all just this perfect, like man, if that's been created, like certainly there's no limit.
There's no limit, man. No limit.
No restrictions, no limits. Like,
It's fascinating. And so then, like, it seems like the easiest thing in the world to just let go, you know, let
hmm,
go and let God. So it sounds so easy, and it really is easy, but then we overcomplicate it with our minds. But yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, so
yeah.
I think that's where, because this I think this is you and I's goal is to help guide people
Hmm.
to having this experience. Like this is the experience I'm having, and it's like amazing, and I'm having the best life that I could have ever imagined, and I
Same.
didn't
Yeah.
like just discover it. I'm just now discovering it, and I'm nearly 39 years old,
Hmm.
and
Same.
my my purpose, my what I want to do is show people how to have this experience in their own way. Like guide people to this. And like you said it is like so simple and so easy. Like let go with your mind and let God come through you and create what God's here to create. But it's not that easy. It is that simple.
It
It's like
is
let
that
go and jump in
simple.
the river.
It's not that easy because we've been programmed, like in our case, for 39 years to think of it, to think differently and think that we know best and yada, yada, yada. And everything that's happened, like in my life, that has led me to this position, and then basing everything going forward off of that, or like worried about the future or whatever, and you start to get in your own head and mess it all up. But yeah, it really is that simple, as just let go.
Yeah, let go of your old thoughts and your old
Yeah.
limitations. Like that's the biggest thing is what we've been taught is a
Hmm.
limitation. I know I was told all my life, like, what? No, you can't do that. You can't.
Yep.
And now I have conversations and somebody says, like, no, that's impossible. Or you can't do that. I'm like, man, are you kidding me? Like, look, I'm a body like made up of like these cells, and I breathe in oxygen and my lungs disperse the oxygen through my blood to every cell in my body. I eat and digest and process food that energizes me, that got its sustenance from the sun and the water and the earth. And it's like we're spiraling through space, and trees grow from little seeds, and babies, human big grown men, are made from a tiny sperm and an egg that we can't even see,
Hmm.
and the cells multiply. Like what? And you're telling me like this is not possible? Like something that I'm seeing or wanting to do is not possible? Like get out of here, man. Come on. You know who you're dealing
get
with? You know
get
God,
up
the
off
creator
that
of this.
bullshit.
Dude, I'm just here to see what all the fuss is about, man.
Yeah.
Like how and it's really funny. Like how can if if you believe in God and you open your eyes and you just look around, you just take one glance, you take one deep breath in, and you want to put a limit on what God can do. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I mean, I'm open to like flying, like soaring
Yeah.
through the mountains, like soaring.
Yeah.
I don't see. I don't I'm not like saying that's real. I'm not going to say that's not realistic. I'm not going to say that's realistic, but I'm damn sure not going to say that it couldn't happen.
Have
Like,
you ever have you ever read that book or heard about it? What's it called? The The Peaceful Warrior, I think, by Dan McMillan, I believe.
I just saw that the other day that somebody was reading, and no, I have not read it.
Yeah, it's a good book. You should check it out. It's similar to the Celestine Prophecies,
Okay.
in that it's a novel, but this one is written as his personal experiences, but as a novel. But
Okay.
what triggered me was, so he's in college. This is in the beginning of the book. He's in college. He goes to like this gas station or whatever, and the gas station attendant is like talking to him. Then all of a sudden is on the roof of the gas station. And the kid's like blown away, like, how'd you get up there? And that like draws him to have this relationship with the gas station attendant, who he calls Socrates because he's so wise. And then that's what the book is all about. And it's this guy like teaching him all the ways of like the spiritual path, really, and being like a mentor to him.
Okay.
But
Awesome.
I remember reading this book for the first time. I've read it several times now, but for the first time I read it, and this guy ends up on the roof, and I probably put the book down like, this is bullshit.
Right.
But now I'm
Yeah.
like, maybe that actually happened in Dan's life. Like, there, it is totally possible.
Sure, man. I mean, yeah, look at all the other stuff. Like if we didn't know, if we didn't grow up here and like have the illusion of understanding of all that's happening here,
Hmm.
you were just dropped in. Like say you were just dropped in at 39-year old and you had a mind and you could think and eyes and all your senses and you can see, but you didn't know anything. And you're seeing all this stuff. I mean, you're going to be like, "What?" Like what?
Yeah.
I mean, or even to make it maybe simpler to understand, if you take a caveman where they had their way of life and their reality, and then you
Hmm.
put him here, could you imagine? Like he would not believe any of this. The phones, if you take somebody from 200 years ago
Yeah, dude.
and you bring them here today and they're seeing our automobiles and our phones and our TVs and our all this stuff, to them that all this stuff was absolutely impossible. And if you
Yep.
told it to them then, they would say, nope, that's impossible. So who am I now in 2025 to say no, that's impossible? What is life going to be like in another 200 years here, another 2000, in a million years? It's going to be impossible to me. For me
Yeah.
to see it and understand it, it's impossible and could never have happened in my world and my experience and my reality. Well, I'm letting go of that. I'm getting up off that bullshit, man,
Yeah, man.
because time is an illusion, right?
Yep.
So just because it's not happening now in my reality and my experience here on this earth in 2025 doesn't mean it's not going to happen in the year 200 2225, or yeah,
Yeah.
200 years from now or a million years from now. What's life going to be like? What's reality? What's existence going to be like? To us, it's going to seem impossible.
Yep. Everyone's
So
gonna be communicating telepathically.
telepathically. So let go of the limitations, surrender it, let go of the mind's need to understand and know. Like let go of that and wake up, open up to the magic that really is going on here. Like
Yep.
communicating with God, communicating with your creator in a dialect, like in a conversation. Like that's something I can't even. I mean, it's just I don't even understand it. I'm just so amazed at the miraculousness that that this really is. It really is this real 3D. You know, we have to eat to survive. We have to work. We have to pay our bills. We have to, you know, drive in cars, and we have to do all this stuff. Like all that stuff is real, and there's no denying that. But also the magic and the mysticism is even more real. Like that's where
Hmm.
the 3D, that's where all the rules and regulations comes from, is
Yeah.
the unlimited, infinite, mystical magic. This
Yeah.
all this hard 3D rules and regs, you know, is just one tiny little slice of it, man. If you can just
Yeah.
like,
Dude, I love you so much, man. Yeah.
Jeffrey, right on, man. I love you too.
I love you so much. Yeah.
It's amazing trip.
It is amazing, man. It is absolutely amazing.
So yeah, I'm excited to like go on this journey with you of like experience it, of like exploring this unknown and exploring this magic mysticism that we have no idea about, and
Yeah.
bringing people
Yeah.
and guiding people to this like version of themselves, like letting go and being open to, you know, God's limitless.
Yeah. Finding their power within, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
And we're like,
man.
it's amazing like to have a brother to like be doing this with.
I
I think
agree.
there's I think the I think the power is going to be exponentially more than if we were just doing it individually. I think like having these conversations, having this support,
Hmm.
just the support of one good brother, man.
Yeah,
Like
I agree
that's
wholeheartedly.
it's I think it's going to open up the door for like so many people to um expand their curiosity and their creative nature, and you know, just go exploring. Like let's just go exploring.
Right, let's Lewis and Clark this, bro.
Yeah, man. That's
Figured
what we're
out.
doing. Like
Yeah,
that's exactly what we're
that's
doing.
what
Like,
we're doing.
you know, let go of the limitations and the, you know, the mind, your mind's understanding. I think that's like the key to this whole podcast here, is to like realize that you can let go of it. You don't have
Hmm.
to know how to let go of it now. Like it didn't, you know, I've been on this journey for like over 5 years now. And so it takes like time, and it takes practice, and it takes like lifestyle change. It takes changing the old patterns. And when you're, you know, 30, I was like 33 years old at the time that I started like waking up and started realizing it. I was on 160 milligrams of methadone. I was on like 10 or 11 prescriptions from the Western pharmaceuticals, from the doctors. And they kept giving me more shit, and I kept getting sicker. And so they would give me more shit, which would make me sicker. And I was like ready to die and give up. I was ready to throw
Hmm.
it in, man. I didn't want to live anymore. I was suffering. I was living such a miserable life that the days went by like years, man. And it was just like physically sick, mentally sick. My life, my existence, you know, having to, you know, pay bills, pay rent, and not being able to work, and not wanting to work, and not having money to eat good, and not wanting to eat good because my body was so sick. It was just like this perpetual hell. So living in hell. So all that had to change.
Yeah.
And then, you know, belief patterns, and you know, the way that I can talk to people and treated people, and the way that I treated myself, it was all horrible.
Yeah.
It was, and so all that has
Yeah.
to change. And I think, you know, I've had this feeling that um, through my suffering and through my experience of it, that I feel like, I want to be able to help people, and I feel like they're not going to have to go through. It's not going to take them as long. They're not going to have to go through the suffering if somebody, if somebody wants help from me or somebody wants to work with me. I think, we'll just get right down to it and we'll start doing the work, and it
Yeah,
will be exponentially faster than it took me.
I think that's our purpose here, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like help people find the way, and then like since you and I have already done it, it's going to be easier for someone else to follow in our footsteps. They're still going to
Right.
have to do their own inner
Yep.
work, but it's going to be, yeah,
But there's
exponentially
already a path.
easier.
There's
Yeah,
already
there's
a
already a
pathway.
path. Right. There
We've
you
already
go.
done the bushwhacking.
Yeah.
Like, we've already been in there, man. We've already done it. Like, here's the path, here's the way. Just like do that.
Yeah.
And like let's all have fun and see, like, so let's see. I'm wanting to reach my full. Hey Jeffrey, do you have a light that you could turn on in your
Yeah,
face?
I'm like coming in and out of reality there.
Yeah.
Let me see.
You'll need to face the light,
Oh,
probably.
oh, I don't know about that.
There you
Sure.
go.
There, how's that?
That fixed it. Yeah, right on. Um, so like I want to realize my full potential in like totally surrendering and letting go and letting God create through me.
Same. Yeah,
And there,
same, man.
and so not understanding that and not having any like preconceived notions or ideas about what that is, then the sky's the limit. Or even further, there is no limit. So
Hmm.
personally, I want to reach my highest and fullest potential here. And then I also want to, I don't want to share with somebody else. I don't want them to reach my highest and fullest potential. I
No,
want them to reach their
theirs.
individual.
Yep.
And so that is like that is my, I think, goal. That is my calling, is to help people realize their own unique version of their highest and fullest potential
Yep.
with letting God work through them.
Yep.
And it's gonna
That's
be something totally different than what I'm doing or what mine is and what yours is. And I mean, yeah, there's infinite possibilities, infinite opportunities for an individual, unique expression of God to come through.
hmm Yeah. I share that same purpose. So that's cool, man. But
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
yeah,
And
that's what we're doing here.
we're we're
I
gonna be like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you and I having this discussion about actively helping people, and that is like 100% what I want to do with my life. But I was just gonna make the point that I think like we do it without even realizing that we're doing it sometimes, just by being, and that is amazing as well. Like
It's already
I'm
started for sure.
yeah,
It's in its most purest, innocent form.
hmm just beautiful.
Yeah, just showing up as our authentic self. So,
Yeah. So we can do that, like everybody can do that.
mhm.
Every
And that's really
anybody can do that. Just be the best that they can be, and then just in doing so, there's going to be a ripple effect to those around you.
for sure, man. People can see it and feel it. Like every
Hmm.
day. Anywhere, anywhere I go, any person I come in contact with, people see it and they know it and they sense it and they feel it. And like I feel like I haven't even started. Well, I have started, but I feel like I haven't even started.
Yeah, yeah. It's
But
just
that
the
is
beginning.
it's just the beginning, and it's just in its most pure and innocent form. I think, which is magical and authentic. Like
Yeah,
that's the key
really
is just
authentic.
being authentic
Yeah.
and letting God show up through you. And yeah, that's an amazing experience, to see or feel God. I've heard this expression in church before, that person has God on them, you can see it, you can feel it. And like that's exactly what it is. Like if
Yeah.
you can let go of yourself and just your true authentic essence comes out, that's God. That's God showing
Yeah,
up through
yeah,
you.
yeah.
And that's a loving presence. So I think people are attracted to that, and people are craving that. People need that. Even if they
Yeah.
don't know it. That's what if they're doing the drugs and they're doing, they're lost and all manner of hell and suffering and searching, or maybe it doesn't even look like they're searching. Maybe it just looks like they're blowing their life away, but actually they're just searching for God. They're searching for a
Yes.
connection with God.
I 100% agree with that. 100%.
That's their desire, and that was my desire, and I didn't
Yep.
know it. I had
Same.
no idea. That's all that suffering that I was doing, that I was choosing all the drugs and the methadone, and like all I was doing was searching for God, searching for a
Hmm.
connection to God. And I had to experience that suffering. And man, the level of gratitude for that suffering and living in hell and wanting, not wanting to be here, not wanting to be in this experience anymore. Gratitude for that, man, because it pushed me into finding God.
Yeah. Where you are now.
Yeah.
Beautiful,
And then
brother.
and now looking at it from here, this perspective, like I see that God was with me, like arm around me, carrying me sometimes. God was right there, like pulling me this way, this direction. And that was the only way for me to see God in myself was through eventually having enough of it. And, tough subject, but some people get pushed by God and don't make it out, you know?
Hmm.
Some people end up dying in their physical body in that suffering without finding God. And I don't understand that. I don't understand what that's about, but it's just part of this experience. And hope, yeah, I don't know. That's a conversation for another day. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man.
and I look forward
Beautiful.
to like we're starting to like work on ourselves, as discovering ourselves as coaches and guides and mentors to help people. Like we are actively starting to hone in on that skill and focus in and starting to do things that will help us be a guiding light for people. And I'm super
Yep.
excited about it, man. Just
Me
excited
too, man.
to
I'm
be learning
pumped.
and growing.
Yeah. I'm pumped.
Learning, growing, exploring, figuring it out.
Yes, sir.
It's good to be here.
It's great to be here. Yeah.
Well, I feel like that went really well. I feel like that was
I think, yeah, I think we probably just end it here.
yeah, and I look forward to, doing this more and getting specific topics and um, just sharing more of our experiences and who we are.
Yeah, what we're discovering and just see what all the fuss is about.
Yeah. Come
All right.
see. All
All
right,
right.
love you all. Anybody who watches this, love you guys. Really appreciate any feedback, any support. Um, really would be grateful for the opportunity to speak with anyone or help anyone. So please feel free to reach out. And yeah, gratitude to you, Jeffrey. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being a
Yep.
good brother. I got your back. You got my back. It's a blessing just to be um, in this creating this experience with you.
Yeah, man. I'm grateful for you as well. Grateful for anyone listening to this. We had zero plan this time. Literally zero plan.
We
Just
got
hit
on to
record and
brainstorm
started talking. Yeah, we got on the brainstorm, and
for tomorrow's
now
recording,
there's
and this is what came. So.
yeah. Exactly. It's supposed to be recorded tomorrow, but recorded right now. So
Spontaneity, man. It feels
that's
like it's
it.
right on time. So
Yes, sir. All right. We'll see y'all. Love
peace,
y'all.
guys.
Peace.